if a girl says no a couple of times, he'll keep asking her. And if she keeps saying no, he'll keep asking. Well, let's look at this. Channel 5, Andrew Callaghan allegations.
I never in a million years thought that I would be making this video, and I'm shaking because I've tried a couple different times and haven't been able to get my point across, but I don't like seeing abusers get platforms. And my abuser, Andrew Callaghan, also known as All Gas No Breaks, Channel 5, and whatever his new HBO show's called, I forget, has been plastered all over my news feed, and I've tried to come to him person to person and try to get video, and I'm shaking because I've tried a couple different times and haven't been able to get my point across, but I don't like seeing abusers get platforms. And my abuser, Andrew Callaghan, also known as All Gas No Breaks, Channel 5, and whatever his new HBO show's called, I forget, has been plastered all over my news feed, and I've tried to come to him person to person and try to get him to take accountability for what he did, but his version of what happened the night that he assaulted me is so skewed. So I will tell you that he did eventually get consent. And that's the main point, is that he eventually got consent because he wore me down. He told me he needed a place to stay for the night. He had some sort of falling out with one of his crew members or whatever, and I was very clear about the fact that we are not hooking up. He gets in my bed and wears me down to the point where I eventually do agree to do things that I wasn't proud of. And I wasn't proud of.
So somebody brought up that this is similar to, like, Salvo asking again and again and again and again of this girl who kept saying no until she said yes. And Bosset yesterday said, you know, it's sad that, like, a 1,000 no's followed by one yes is all of a sudden, like, the yes is the most important thing.
Of them and thought it was my fault for so long that I continued to be nice to him after the situation. He wouldn't leave my house the next morning. And then as time went on and I processed things, I thought, you know what, just because eventually I said, okay, whatever, because I was trying to just get the whole night over with so that it could be morning so that he could leave, it doesn't discount the fact that I told him no. So I told him no so many times prior to this. I said, I'm tired, I'm not really feeling it. I came up with any excuse that I possibly could to just get him off of me, and he still found a way to coerce me into things that I didn't want to do. And this is really hard for me to say. I never thought I would come forward, but it's even more hard to have to relive the trauma that I'm
not saying it's assault, Flamenco. I'm just saying that if you keep badgering somebody over and over and over again, which is what Salvo did, right? And that person says no 1,000 times, and then you badger them until they say yes that one time and take that yes as the most important thing in the world that they said, then it's at least scumbag behavior, right? It's at the very least, scummy behavior.
Endured every
and at the worst, like, coercion, right?
Single day by seeing this man as a social justice warrior, as someone who cares about human rights, get a platform. You shouldn't be supporting him. And at the end of the day, like, I've told close friends of mine, I've tried coming out about this before, and he texted me saying that it basically ruined his life and that his life was over now because of things that I said, and other women have come forward to me, but this is my first time publicly talking about it on a platform like TikTok, because I hope it gets traction. I hope people listen to me. I hope that if something similar has happened to you, that you know that that's not your fault. It wasn't my fault what happened to me, just because I eventually...
I don't understand what you guys are saying in chat. If a woman says yes 1,000 times and says no, is that no not the most important thing? Well, the way that people treat things like this, I would say no. People don't treat no's very importantly. She claims to have evidence twice in the clips but never gives any. Well, evidence of what? Evidence of him assaulting her? I don't know that I would consider it assault, but I would consider it scummy behavior. He's acting like a sex pest, right? Okay, the 1,000 times Demon Eyes is is like hyperbole, right? The girl yesterday that we were reviewing, Babs, who said no tons and tons of times to Salvo, and then he wore her down until she said yes. That's what happened. Why was he in her bed? She said that he needed a place to stay, that he had trouble with people in his crew or whatever, right? If she says no, then yes, it's scummy. Is it scummy? No, I don't think that's the case. I think it's very clear with Salvo and Babs that he kept asking her, and she had made it very clear that the answer was no a bunch of times, right? Am I not making any sense? Hanging out one-on-one with a sex pest that you're not aware of is a sex pest does not mean that you wanted to have sex with them to get from the get-go, right? If you consented to sex with them, that's on you for sure. And it seems like she did. But I'm just saying that if somebody says no a bunch of times beforehand, you're kind of a scumbag if you keep asking them. She torpedoes her call out with the front loading of assault when, at most by her own admission, he was just really pushy. Yeah, I think she kind of torpedoed it too, Flamenco. I will say that the most she can claim is that he's being a sex pest and he's being really fucking weird. Yeah, dude shouldn't be putting women in the position where if she says no, she's the only way that she's changing her mind is if you're really wearing her down. Right? Like if she said no several times to something, you know? Like, again, a lot of dudes will do this thing where if a girl says no a couple of times, he'll keep asking her. And if she keeps saying no, he'll keep asking and keep asking and keep asking until he wears her down. And then she eventually says yes to just so he'll leave her the fuck alone. Why didn't she just keep saying no with Salvo? I mean, don't ever agree. I mean, some women do that, but this woman was kind of relying. Like, I'm not talking about this one on screen right now, but the one I'm talking about, Babs, yesterday was relying on them for a car ride, right? Why not just kick him out? Kick who out? Which one are you talking about, little bits? Are you talking about Babs or are you talking about this lady? Because if it's this lady, why not just kick him out? Or lock him out of her room? I don't know. I don't know. You know, sometimes you're intimidated by the person. Sometimes you feel guilty because you were the one who let them in the first place. Right? It's important to take into context the personalities of people involved. We have seen multiple times Salvo will openly press people and stomp over boundaries. Yeah, that is true. And there are a lot of guys who are like that. Like, Salvo's not the only one who exists in the world. I don't know anything about Andrew Callaghan. I can't say whether he actually did anything here. What I can say is that there are a lot of dudes who are like that, who will push and press and press and press until they can finally get a yes out of a woman. Adding these so I can keep track, I fully acknowledge all these comments and the original vid are just people on TikTok, but I believe it and imagine more people will have/will come forward about stories. I don't know if they have or will get any reach, but we'll see. Upsetting all around. I don't, do you think that she should be using victim/abuser language? I don't know. I think it's appropriate in some cases. I don't know if it's appropriate in this case. I don't know enough about this case to really say. Been digging into this and just found this, not sure how accurate it is. Mentions of sexual assault, descriptions of sexual assault. He knowingly assaulted my friend and got away with it. Please stop supporting his dumb ass. Just in case y'all can't put two and two together, the ugly loser who hosts the All Gas No Breaks show is a sexual abuser. I know people he has assaulted and he is aware and doesn't give a shit. Please unfollow him if you watch this and still follow him. I will message you and ask why. He is around Tampa and St. Pete a lot. You have probably met him. Please protect the women of our community by not supporting him. This is his new show. Unfollow this shit too. Y'all don't owe loyalty to a rapist. Okay? But I don't... Most underage. These are all hearsay, right? We can't really say anything. I'm not teaching women that, Juan Zerka. I'm just trying to be generous to people. There's no evidence in this thing. Hey, Couchman. Like, this is just hearsay. Yeah, these are all just hearsay, so I can't really say. But there is something to be said. I think we can have a broader conversation about what's wrong with pestering somebody until they give you a yes, right? It depends. I've known girls that like that pursuit. Just make sure they know if they actually say no, you'll not be a dick. Yeah, but if a girl is making excuses and saying no, not interested, and saying, oh, I'm really not feeling this, I don't want to, she's being pretty serious about this, like, leave her alone. You know? Yeah, this is not pursuit. We're not talking about pursuit, right? I don't know, Flamenco. Let's say you're friends with a girl, or you work with a girl, right? Here's an example. Let's say that you work with a girl and you ask her, hey, you want to get drinks sometime? And she says no. And then you ask her again the next day and she says, I'm really not feeling it. My head is hurting. And the next day she says, I have things to do after work. And the next day she says, I'm just not feeling it this week, At a certain point, if she actually wants to hang out with you, she will say, instead of just coming up with an excuse, she will say, hey, my head is really hurting today, but I do want to hang out with you. Maybe we can schedule another day, right? At a certain point, if she really likes you, she will make an excuse to come to hang out with you again without you having to ask her. Stars, would a man be able to get away with that behavior? Like, what do you mean? Like, if... I mean, sure, but again, at some point, I would just ask, hey, want me to stop asking? Women are socialized to not say no, right? We're socialized to, from a very young age, to be as agreeable as possible. The excuses. I mean, I think so. I think after a certain point, you would get the idea. Like, it's the same thing with, like, asking somebody if they want to hang out as friends. If they keep making excuses as to why they don't want to hang out, they don't want to hang out with you. American women are not socialized that way. Well, then tell me and every woman that I talk to, okay? So sure, if I give an admission that I suspect they're not super interested, it's on them to answer honestly, I think, anyway. I agree, and that's why I advocate for women to be more forward about the way that they talk to men. But as it is, the reality that we live in is, oh my god, Milo just did another sodomy clock. So I agree with you that women should be much more forward than they are. And I always advocate for that. But the reality that we live in is that women are not that forward. The reality that we live in is that women are socialized to be as agreeable as possible, and are socialized to avoid saying no at any cost, right? And so with that being the reality of how women are socialized still are kind of brought up, I think we need to accommodate a little bit for that, right? Yeah, and true, little bits makes a good point here. Women being forward can put them in danger too. Yeah. I'm not saying women are basically mentally disabled, Juan Zorka. But yeah, I do advocate for women to be more forward. It's just we don't live in the reality where that's the norm yet. So if we're not socialized that way, it's acceptable for women. Why is it not acceptable for men? Maybe men are socialized to be aggressive. Men are socialized to be more aggressive, and that's fine. You know, sometimes men do the pursuit thing, right? But having the ability to be more aggressive, I think, also gives you a little bit more responsibility as well. I'm not saying that women need to be taken care of by men. I'm just saying take the hint. If she keeps saying no to something, take the hint. Is it like... I could say the same thing. If men are not taking the hint when she says no, maybe I don't need to baby you. Maybe you shouldn't be babied. Like, maybe I don't need to tell you, like, why do I have to keep saying no to you? You should be able to get it. You're a grown adult. I could say the same exact thing. I'm not saying it like that. What I am saying is that generally, if a woman is telling you no a whole bunch of times, she's not interested, and you should probably drop it. I'm not talking down to you when I say that. It's like you were saying men take care of women, but then be like, why men think we need help? I'm not saying that at all, Blue. Why is Blue always like starting shit with me that I'm never trying to say? He's a contrarian? Maybe. Do I have to take care of you, Blue? When you keep asking me the same question over and over again like a child would, do I have to baby you? Is that what I have to do now? Oh, you didn't take no the first time. Oh, let me repeat it for you again and again and again and again. I can do the same thing. I can make it out like you're being a child too. Don't do it. We're not doing that shit. Treating you like a baby. Unbelievable. Lots of men bully women into compliance. They do. That is how I hear it. Well, I wasn't talking to you that way to begin with, but you started making me talk to you that way. That's how, if I'm not even talking to you that way, I'm just saying, hey, if she said no a bunch of times, there's a certain point in which you take the hint, right? That is not me talking down to you. If you want me to talk down to you, I will talk down to you. And I will say, look, Blue, I'm sorry that you didn't understand it the first time. You didn't understand no the first time. Let me talk to you like you're a baby, like you're a 10-year-old who keeps asking, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Mom, can I buy this? Can I buy that? Can I buy this? Can I buy that? No, 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 no. No the first time. No. You are not a child. You were a grown man. Act like it. I will treat you like a baby if you want me to. Stardust, he could be getting off on you talking down to him. Just saying. That is true. Sorry. That was really mean.